स्टडी IQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Technology can be transformational both in terms of governance as well as in terms of reducing corruption substantially. Lakhimpur did not have a photocopying machine at that. Lucknow, where I had worked earlier, had a few of them. So I decided to install a photocopying machine in the revenue record room.
Some of them might be having कि यार मुझे AI, machine learning, big data, इनके बारे में जब बहुत कुछ पता होगा शायद तभी मैं एक अच्छा ब्यूरोक्रेट बन पाऊंगा.
Technology also enables you to make things transparent because you can put those things in public domain. If that happens, then even the most corrupt person will think twice before taking a corrupt. That more than 50,000 crores worth of projects were pending there. This could become another scam. And again, as I said, it baffles me. Why isn't PMO digitizing its files? Because then you get to know where the delays are. You look at the mobile phone. Every person who is even illiterate can use it.
सोचिए अगर भारत में किसी को भी अपने किसी भी सरकारी काम के लिए किसी भी सरकारी ऑफिस में जाने की जरूरत ही ना पड़े. क्या आपको लगता है कि एक यूटोपिया है, हकीकत नहीं होगी? आज हमारे साथ हैं मिस्टर अनिल स्वरूप, फॉर्मर कोल सेक्रेटरी ऑफ इंडिया, जिनकी 38 साल की भारतीय प्रशासनिक सेवा में उन्होंने महत्वपूर्ण अपना योगदान दिया है चीज़ों को बदलने में, तकनीक के उपयोग में. शुरुआत करते हैं. थैंक्स फॉर कमिंग सर. सर, ये जो हमने बात कही, आपको लगता है कि यूटोपिया है या फिर हकीकत हो सकती है, होने वाली है?
आपने बहुत ही सही पॉइंट को एम्फसाइज किया है. मेरा व्यक्तिगत रूप से और जब मैं सरकार में था तब भी ये मानना था कि टेक्नोलॉजी कैन बी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल बोथ इन टर्म्स ऑफ गवर्नेंस एज वेल एज इन टर्म्स ऑफ रिड्यूसिंग करप्शन सब्सटैंशियली. सो इट्स अ पॉसिबिलिटी. अब ये पूरा एलिमिनेट हो जाएगा इंटरफेस, फिजिकल इंटरफेस, ये तो कहना मुश्किल होगा. दैट इज यूटोपियन. बट बाय एंड लार्ज इस तरफ हम ऑलरेडी बढ़ रहे हैं. आप देखिए, आज से कई दशकों पूर्व जब रेलवे रिजर्वेशन का जो तरीका है वो बदला गया, टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग हुआ, उससे करप्शन कितना कम हुआ. मेरे विचार से वो एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण शुरुआत थी जो ये स्थापित करती थी. इट प्रूव्ड दैट टेक्नोलॉजी कैन बी यूज्ड टू ब्रिंग डाउन करप्शन एंड इम्प्रूव गवर्नेंस. We are moving in that direction, and I must share with you what is happening in Haryana, where an organization called Samagra is helping the state government identify such processes where a common man has to go to government office, and they identified about 500 such processes, whether it is birth certificate, death certificate, variety of things for which a common man goes to the government office, and they have managed to digitize more than 300 such processes where that common man doesn't have to go to any government office. He can go to a kiosk designated for the purpose, which are both public and private kiosks. They can apply there, and actually not only that, they're able to track their applications and get the result. So this is quite a remarkable thing that is happening. I have been informed that other states are also doing it, like Andhra Pradesh, Kerala. They're also doing it. So it's happening in the country. I wish and hope it happens at a faster pace. But certainly it is happening. It is not merely now in the realm of imagination. There are many things are, as I said, happening on the ground. And if we commit ourselves to that, then it should happen sooner than expected.
Got it, sir. जैसे सर ने कहा कि 500 ऐसी सेवाएं जिसमें कि आपको अपने काम के लिए आम आदमी को सरकारी ऑफिसेज में जाना होता है, वो उसमें से 300 जो है डिजिटाइज हो रही हैं. जैसे सर ने हरियाणा का एग्जांपल दिया, तो डेफिनेटली इट्स अ स्टेप इन दिस डायरेक्शन. कई बार टेक्नोलॉजी को समझा जाता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी केवल आएगी और चीज़ें बदल देगी. बट सर, आपने अपने आर्टिकल में एटीट्यूड की इंपॉर्टेंस एंड यूजिंग टेक्नोलॉजी पर काफ़ी कुछ लिखा है. सर, हम स्टार्ट करना चाहेंगे आपके वाक्य से. व्हेन यू वर डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट लखीमपुर खीरी, तो कैसे आपने रेवेन्यू रिकॉर्ड्स में एक छोटे से इंटरवेंशन से एक बड़ा बदलाव लाया?
ये मेरा शायद पहला अनुभव था. 1991 में मैं डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट लखीमपुर खीरी था. तब मुझे टेक्नोलॉजी का बहुत आइडिया नहीं था, लेकिन मुझे अन्यथा आइडियाज थे और मैं ढूंढता था कि इनकी समस्याओं का समाधान कैसे करूं. उन समस्याओं में वन ऑफ द मेजर प्रॉब्लम्स दैट वाज देयर, एंड देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ करप्शन इन दैट एज वेल, वाज द रेवेन्यू रिकॉर्ड रूम, which housed all the revenue and other records of the district, which were required periodically and very regularly by common men for contesting cases and otherwise. Revenue record is an important set of records. So what they had to do was they had used to apply for getting a copy of the record, which was there in the revenue record room, and then the related file was brought out. One person actually copied it in his hand, what was in the original record. The second person checked whether the copying was correct, and the third person signed the document, and it was then given to the applicant who wanted a copy of the revenue record. And look at the corruption there was, because the timelines were fixed, but they were more in breach than anything else. They were not kept. In fact, at that point in time, I coined this phrase of speed money, that is getting it quickly. So if you wanted it quickly, money had to be paid. Now, I wanted to resolve this issue because I used to get a lot of complaints regarding the delays in getting these copies. Lakhimpur did not have a photocopying machine at that. Lucknow, where I had worked earlier, had a few of them. So I decided to install a photocopying machine in the revenue record room. And this eliminated all the delays and corruption. So in the morning, applications came. By the evening, they were photocopied, signed and given. And that virtually eliminated corruption in the record room. Of course, there was a lot of furor by people who were benefiting out of the previous regime. They came to me and asked me, why are you doing this? And I told them that ultimate beneficiary has to be the consumer, the person who applies for that record, and he should be given without having to pay any additional amount and in time. So it worked wonders, and actually it also convinced me that technology can help a lot in improving governance. This was one part of governance. Later on in my career, I had an opportunity to use technology at many other places.
जैसे कि सर ने बताया कि फोटोकॉपी मशीन इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, लेकिन वहां पर जो एटीट्यूड ऑफ ब्यूरोक्रेट कि हाँ इसका यहाँ पर इस्तेमाल होना चाहिए, और उससे रेवेन्यू रिकॉर्ड रूम का जो करप्शन था वो रिड्यूस हुआ। प्रेशर भी था कि क्यों ही कर रहे हो, लेकिन सर ने ऐसा किया। हम करप्शन वाली डिबेट को थोड़ा आगे लेकर चलते हैं, फिर हम डिसीजन मेकिंग एंड अदर एस्पेक्ट्स पर आएंगे। जैसे कि आपका जीएस पेपर 2 में जो गवर्नेंस है उसमें ई गवर्नेंस है, और आपका जीएस पेपर 4 एथिक्स है। यहां पर आप दोनों में एक इंटरकनेक्शन देखेंगे। सर, कई बार स्टूडेंट्स को लगता है जो प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं कि अगर आने वाले समय में गवर्नेंस बहुत तेजी से बदलेगी टुवर्ड्स टेक्नोलॉजी, तो शायद इनको अभी टेक्नोलॉजी के प्रति और ज्यादा जानना होगा। सम ऑफ देम माइट बी हैविंग कि यार मुझे एआई, मशीन लर्निंग, बिग डेटा, इनके बारे में जब बहुत कुछ पता होगा शायद तभी मैं एक अच्छा ब्यूरोक्रेट बन पाऊंगा। आपका इस पर क्या?
देखिए, मेरे विचार से ब्यूरोक्रेट को टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट नहीं बनना है। ही हैज नॉट टू बिकम एक्सपर्ट इन टेक्नोलॉजी। उसको पता होना चाहिए कि टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग कैसे हो। उसको प्रोग्राम नहीं लिखना है, उसको सॉफ्टवेयर नहीं बनाना है
जी।
ये सब अवेलेबल है, लेकिन उसको पता होना चाहिए कि इस सॉफ्टवेयर का, इस प्रोग्राम का उपयोग कैसे हो सकता है। उदाहरण के तौर पर, मुझे टेक्नोलॉजी का बहुत ज्यादा जानकारी नहीं थी, लेकिन मुझे इतनी जानकारी जरूर थी कि इस टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग कैसे हो सकता है, और उसका मैंने उपयोग निरंतर किया अपने कार्य में। उदाहरण के तौर पर आपको स्मरण होगा कि एक योजना हमने चलाई थी, RSBY, राष्ट्रीय स्वास्थ्य बीमा योजना। यहाँ हमारे पास समस्या क्या थी? जो हमारा टारगेट ग्रुप था, कंज्यूमर था, वो बहुत गरीब था, अनपढ़ था, और वो यहाँ से अलग अलग जगह जाता था काम के लिए। तो हमें इसको सुविधा के लिए हमें ऐसी स्कीम बनानी थी जो कि पेपरलेस हो, क्योंकि इंश्योरेंस के पेपर्स इतने होते हैं कि कोई पढ़ नहीं सकता उनको। तो क्या पेपरलेस बन सकती है? दूसरा, क्या ये कैशलेस बन सकती है? क्योंकि गरीब आदमी था और एडवांस में पैसा नहीं दे सकता था हॉस्पिटल को, तो कोई सिस्टम बन सकता था कि अपने सेवा ले ले और इंश्योरेंस कंपनी सीधे हॉस्पिटल को पैसा दे दे। इसी तरह वो एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जाता था नौकरी की तलाश में, तो सामान्य रूप से चाहे वो MNREGA हो या PDS हो, वो व्यवस्था उसको अपने जिले में मिलती थी। अब ये हम उसको सुविधा देना चाहते थे, देश में कहीं भी जाए, कहीं भी उसे मिल जाए। तो इन तीनों चीजों को करने के लिए टेक्नोलॉजी यूजफुल हुई। तो हम लोगों ने पहली बार स्मार्ट कार्ड यूज किया हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस के लिए। ना मुझे स्मार्ट कार्ड की ज्यादा जानकारी नहीं थी, मुझे ये भी नहीं पता था कि उसके बैक एंड पे जो 11 सॉफ्टवेयर चल रहे थे वो क्या थे। लेकिन जब मैं टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट के साथ बैठता था तो उनको समझाता था कि ये मेरी समस्या है, आप देखिए कोई सॉफ्टवेयर इसमें फिट हो जाएगा, तो ढूंढते थे, लाते थे, उसमें फिट करते थे। तो एक ये साथ बैठकर टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट के साथ उनको वो स्पेस दिया, उनको सपोर्ट दिया, उनको अपनी बात स्पष्ट रूप से बताई, और जब उनको समझ में आ गई तो उन्होंने की और बड़ी सक्सेसफुल योजना बनी। आज वही आयुष्मान भारत आई और उसमें सोफिस्टिकेटेड टेक्नोलॉजी का इस्तेमाल हो रहा है। तो एज अ सिविल सर्वेंट आपको टेक्नोलॉजी इटसेल्फ को जानने की जरूरत नहीं है।
इस बात को मैं इस वाक्य से थोड़ा और समझाना चाहूंगा। सर, आपने शेयर किया था कि आपने जिस मिनिस्ट्री में आप सेक्रेटरी थे तो आपने उसके रिकॉर्ड्स को मेजरली डिजिटाइज कर दिया। सो हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने पूछा कि अनिल आपने कैसे कर दिया भाई, और जगह नहीं हुआ? तो सर ने कहा कि साहब मुझे तो लैपटॉप भी ठीक से चलाना नहीं आता, बट मुझे पता है कि होना क्या है, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम, और उसको सॉल्व कैसे किया जा सकता है। तो इसका मतलब है कि ब्यूरोक्रेट को पता होना चाहिए कि प्रॉब्लम है क्या, उसकी डिफरेंट लेयर्स की अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए। टेक्नोलॉजी का इन्फ्यूजन कराने की कला होनी चाहिए, rather than understanding the nuances of the technology।
खुद नहीं करने की आवश्यकता होती है। मेरे इस विचार से कोई भी सिविल सर्वेंट हो, पहली चीज उसे प्रोसेस क्लियर से समझ में आनी चाहिए। प्रोसेस इटसेल्फ इज नॉट टेक्नोलॉजी। प्रोसेस क्या है और उस प्रोसेस में समस्या क्या है। अगर आपने प्रोसेस और समस्या टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट को ठीक से नहीं बताई तो आपके समाधान नहीं होगा। उसको नहीं पता प्रॉब्लम क्या है, उसको नहीं पता कि प्रॉब्लम का कारण क्या है। ये काम आपको करना है। और टेक्नोलॉजी के हेल्प से देखिए क्या होता है, टेक्नोलॉजी लॉजिकल होती है, टेक्नोलॉजी इलॉजिकल नहीं होती। तो एक बार आप सॉफ्टवेयर बनाएंगे या प्रोग्राम बनाएंगे और उसको उसमें ढालेंगे, तो अगर कोई इन्फॉर्मिटी आपकी प्रोसेस में वो भी सामने आ जाएगी। तो टेक्नोलॉजी कैन बी यूजफुल इन मेनी वेज। You may not understand technology yourself, but a technologist, and if you can know how to communicate with the technologist, he'll help you solve a number of problems.
Got it. So, जैसे कि you understand the processes of government well, you understand the on-ground challenges as well. Consider a situation कि आपके पास best जो technologist हैं, the all kind of possible technologies which are available, हमने यहाँ पर ला दिए हैं और आपसे कहा कि sir, these are the areas where our people are facing corruption. There are corruption on ground and there are corruption on the higher tables as well. तो क्या आपको लगता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से you can actually solve each kind of corruption which India is facing?
What I can say is large amount of corruption problem can be solved through technology. Why? You know, technology also enables you to make things transparent because you can put those things in public domain. If that happens, then even the most corrupt person will think twice before taking a corrupt measure. Let me give you an example. I was assigned an important task of heading project monitoring group in the cabinet secretariat. And the job was to fast track projects above 1,000 crores. Not small, each project more than 1,000 crore. And this was at a time when scams were breaking out. This is 2013. What had happened was, a large number of files were pending at the level of a minister in Ministry of Environment and Forest.
Okay.
This was becoming evident that more than 50,000 crores worth of projects were pending there. This could become another scam. Ultimately, what happened that minister was actually shown the door. She was removed from the cabinet. And these proposals were cleared by the next cabinet minister. Now, what technology does is, provides a potential. Now, I'm using the word potential deliberately because technology itself doesn't do anything. And that is why the point that you brought in earlier, that technology is important, but even more important is the attitude behind it.
Exactly.
It's like a potential available to you.
Yes.
If you don't have the attitude to use it, and that attitude could be on account of your own vested interest, it could be on account of your own indifference, it could be on account of your inability to understand what technology is all about. So unless you are able to have the willingness to use technology, technology itself will not do anything. So critical part is, like these days everyone is talking of artificial intelligence.
Yes.
They're talking of ChatGPT. I say that attitudinal intelligence is much more important than artificial intelligence.
Yes.
This is not to belittle the importance of artificial intelligence. It has enormous potential, but that potential, if I don't have the attitude to use that, and for having that attitude, you don't have to be a technologist. You will be able to get around those technologists who will solve your problem. So one has to be very clear in one's mind that technology alone is not going to solve the problem. This has to be understood very clearly.
Even if we talk about technology, तो there's man behind technology. तो ऐसे में अगर वो man is biased due to some pressure or some vested interest, तो जाहिर सी बात है कि जो टेक्नोलॉजी बनेगी और उसका जो इन्फ्यूजन होगा गवर्नेंस में, वो भी वहां पर जो एक्चुअल पर्पस था वो सॉल्व नहीं करेगा. तो इस पर सर हाउ वी कैन एक्चुअली प्लग दिस गैप?
No, this can't be. See, let us understand, as I keep saying, technology is just a tool. It is an enabler. I think differently. It's like nuclear energy.
Yeah.
If I want to build a bomb with it, I'll build a bomb. As simple as that. But technology can be used for generating power as well. So, or nuclear energy. So similarly, technology itself will not solve any problem. But technology will enable you to create systems where such people who are not, who don't think in the right direction, they can also be exposed. This actually transparency that follows use of technology can enable that. I gave you that example of a cabinet minister losing a job.
Yes.
This was because the technology had thrown up that a particular person was sitting on the file for so many days, and these proposals involved 50,000 crores of rupees. Now, this is a huge amount, and through technology, all this data available in public domain, and you can't make data available in public domain without technology. If you have technology, it's in public domain, it becomes difficult for a person to remain corrupt because he gets exposed. You know, in our society, no matter how corrupt I am, to the public, I'd like appear to be honest.
Yes.
So if the data gets exposed, if the data is placed in public domain, the chances are that corruption will come down. It is in the opacity of our functioning that corruption breeds. But the moment it's like getting injured. Sunshine will help it. If you keep it in the dark, the chances are that the infection will grow. Similarly, technology can be used to expose this. And in a number of cases, we have been trying to tackle corruption by building institutions like Lokpal or Lokayukt. I wonder where any corruption has come down. But look at what has happened by use of technology, say in railway reservation, say what is happening in income tax now. In many domains where technology is being used without creating these institutions like Lokpal, corruption has actually come down. So technology can be used brilliantly and very potently in exposing wrongs, in bringing forth things that are not correct, and hence thereby reducing corruption.
When we talk about governance, तो governance is not just about public delivery. जो आपको सेवाएं सरकार दे रही है वो केवल governance का एक भाग है. Governance connects to authority, taking decisions, making processes and connecting to the people. Sir, ancient time में अर्थशास्त्र में भी चाणक्य talks about corruption widely and he specifically pinpoints कि यहाँ देखो corruption होता है, weight and measures में corruption होता है. So वहाँ से आज तक modern time तक why we could not develop such processes so that some of the loopholes जो उस समय थे आज भी उसी एरिया में चल रहे हैं. So ऐसा क्यों है?
This is more to do with attitude.
Attitude.
Absolutely. Let me explain this to you. Earlier, perhaps that technology did not exist to eliminate it.
Okay.
Attitude was not there, but technology was also not there. Today, people who want can do it. So that's the difference from then and now. Okay. Now, if you want to eliminate or reduce corruption, you can do it. Perhaps maybe 30 years, 40 years ago, it would be much more difficult to build systems to reduce corruption. It's not that they weren't reduced, that corruption was not reduced. But now the potential of reducing corruption is much, much more because of the availability of technology. So those that are willing to do it will be able to do it. Maybe 30 years ago, if I were to do what I did, say in coal or in the health insurance, I would have found it very difficult to do it and hence difficult to prevent corruption. Like in coal, when I was coal secretary, we put in a system in place which is valid even today. This was done in 2015. 8 years down the line, the same system prevails. How was that possible? Through use of technology. So the auctions were held in public domain, so to say. You could see actually on the web the actual auctions that were happening. All files were digitized. So everything by and large was transparent. So corruption became difficult. Probably not possible, say 10 years ago. The example that you gave of Haryana where they are digitizing the processes would have been very difficult 10 years ago. The smart card that we used and now we are using the internet to deliver healthcare was not possible 10 years ago. So as the technology is evolving, more and more tools will become available. But availability of tools does not necessarily mean that it will impact governance, sir. You have to use it. And that's where attitude comes in.
Exactly. So it's like your ignorance is my power. This kind of attitude stops actually infusion of technology to bring transparency.
Absolutely. You know, many of us, when I say many of civil servants, believe that by streamlining processes and use of technology, my power will go, which is a truth. That my power is dependent on your dependence on me.
Exactly.
And that discretion. Is dependent, discretion and availability of information.
Exactly.
Technology demolishes it. Because technology enables a person to have more information. Technology enables him to have more access. Technology enables him to discover as to where is the paper sitting, what is happening to the paper, what are the decisions. So it's apart from technology itself, is the availability of information through technology that empowers the consumer. So that's where the difference is coming.
Being a willing bureaucrat, तो आपके सामने ऐसा चैलेंज आया है कि आप यूज करना चाहते हैं टेक्नोलॉजी टू ब्रिंग ट्रांसपेरेंसी, but you could not develop that kind of system because some pressure was there?
No, I never had that.
You never had.
In fact, I was fortunate that whether it was Prime Minister or it's my own minister in coal ministry, they never put pressure on me to not use technology. Not only that, even before that in RSBY, and when we were doing RSBY, it was Congress UPA government. When I was doing coal, it was NDA government. Irrespective of the government, there Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, Mr. Oscar Fernandez were my ministers. They encouraged me to use technology. So did the current government. They encouraged me to use technology. I think if there is anything wrong, it would be wrong with a civil servant if he uses that as an excuse for not using technology. I've yet to come across a civil servant who says that some politician stopped him from using technology. I don't think anyone does. Politicians also want delivery. Ultimately, they want things to be done on the ground. And if technology can help make things happen on the ground, why would they object to it? At least I never faced any resistance from any either officer or a politician for use of technology.
सर डिजिटल इंडिया को इतना साल हो गए हैं और हम कितनी बार डिजिटाइजेशन ऑफ रिकॉर्ड्स, डिजिटाइजेशन ऑफ फाइल्स की बात करते हैं, क्योंकि अगर डिजिटाइजेशन ऑफ फाइल्स हो जाए फ्रॉम लोअर लेवल टू द हायर लेवल तो ट्रैकिंग ईजी हो जाएगी फाइल की, और कई बार फाइल नहीं है मेरे पास, फाइल स्लो हो गई है, इस बिहाफ पे जो करप्शन है वो भी कम हो जाएगा, डिसीजन मेकिंग शायद फास्ट हो जाएगी. देन व्हाई वी कुड नॉट डू दैट in this whole time?
This baffles me also. I and the department that I worked in benefited enormously by digitization of files. First, in terms of preventing delays, because otherwise there were delays. Exactly. You didn't know where the paper was, where the file was. Secondly, as Secretary Government of India, I could travel through the country and my files were not pending in Delhi because I could do the digital files traveling anywhere in the country. So there's enormous benefit, and hence it baffles me why aren't all the ministries of government files are digitized. It has happened in Odisha. Odisha has digital files. And one reason, there are many other reasons why Odisha is doing well. One reason is that the decision-making process is pretty fast because all the files are digital. All functioning of the government is digital. There are other states also doing it. But again, as I said, it baffles me. Why isn't it happening in all the ministries of Government of India? It should happen forthwith. Files should be eliminated straight away. Files means physical files. Yeah, physical files. They should all be digital. All papers should be digitized. Enormous amount of benefit for it. But I'm as I said, I don't have an explanation for it. Why isn't it happening?
But you must be having some idea, na, ki kyun nahi?
I have tried to speak to people. Everyone says yes. No one says no to it, but doesn't do it. And so I can only conjecture why it's not happening. It baffles me why it's not happening. If it happens at the level of the PMO, that's the first place. If it happens there, then obviously if they insist on receiving only digital files, every ministry will convert into digital. And the Prime Minister himself was very appreciative of the digitization that I have. And again, as I said, it baffles me. Why isn't PMO digitizing its files? Because then you get to know where the delays are. There's so many delays still taking place despite the fact that a Prime Minister I know personally, very insistent on quick decisions, fast decisions. So one way of monitoring whether decisions are taking place, whether files are moving, is to digitize everything. You can sit anywhere in the world and actually assess who is sitting on which paper for how many hours, how many minutes. Exactly. Should happen.
Yes. तो आपका कहना है कि अगर पीएमओ के लेवल पर डिजिटाइजेशन हो जाए तो जाहिर सी बात है फिर वो डिजिटल फाइल ही मांगेंगे, तो सभी मिनिस्ट्रीज को करना होगा.
It's not very difficult.
Exactly.
That's why it baffles me. Why isn't it happening? Because the moment Prime Minister's office decides that we will receive only digital files, every ministry has to digitize.
Exactly.
So that's where it has to start. As they say, charity begins at home.
Yes. नेक्स्ट सर, एक इशू है इसमें कि टेक्नोलॉजी से सेंट्रलाइजेशन ऑफ पावर हो सकता है, और हो सकता है कि ग्राउंड के लेवल पर कुछ डिसीजंस जो हैं वो बेटर हो जाते, वो नहीं होंगे. तो इस इशू पर आपकी क्या?
No, it's a fact that use of technology may lead to, but then it depends on the person. As Secretary Government of India, when we were digitized everything, I never centralized any decision making. I only decided what I had to decide, but I ensured that the decisions that were to be taken at different levels are taken in time. So all you can do is to develop a monitoring system, but you don't have to decide yourself. As I said in the beginning, technology itself is value free. It depends on how you use it. It's a tool. I can use that tool to disempower others and empower myself.
Exactly.
I can use it as a tool to empower others. So it's a question of how you use the tool. So I don't think we should blame the technology for centralization. If I want to keep things centralized, then technology also helps me to centralize it even further. So technology is a tool that can be used to centralize. As I keep saying, technology can be used, abused in the manner in which an individual wants to do it. So it depends on him. And that's why attitude is very, very important.
Got it. Sir, what do you think are the lacunas or gap as of now, the challenges we have in adapting technology? Means when I say adapting, it's not just about government offices adapting. I'm talking about people connecting to it.
See, initially, the complexities of technologies on occasions can be complex.
Yes.
So the communication has to be very simple. And it is already happening. You look at the mobile phone. every person who is even illiterate can use it, meaning thereby that the technology has been simplified to an extent that a common man can use it. That should be done. We should try and make as simple front end as possible. Again, going back to the RSBY scheme, we had a very complex set of softwares at the back end working it. And the front end, the beneficiary just went into a hospital. His thumb impression was checked with the data in the card. He was admitted. He was released. He didn't have to do much. So on the front end, it was very simple. That's how technology has to be made. Front end very simple. Back end obviously will be much more complex because technology is complex.
सो ये वाला जो सर का पॉइंट था, ये उस जवाब मतलब उस सवाल का जवाब है. काफ़ी लोग सोचते हैं कि वाई वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट सो मच टेक्नोलॉजी इज नीडेड इन गवर्नेंस व्हेन आई नो देयर इज अ इंडिया जिसको टेक्नोलॉजी से कनेक्शन नहीं है, मतलब दे आर लाइक डिजिटली इलिटरेट. लेकिन आपने देखा जो एग्जांपल्स हैं हेल्थ, एजुकेशन या गवर्नमेंट के अपने डिसीजन मेकिंग, वो तो हम सबको इम्पेक्ट कर ही रहे हैं. तो उसमें पेपरलेस हो जाना, जैसे हेल्थ में ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन आना, तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि जब तक वो डिजिटली एम्पावर्ड नहीं होगा भाग भारत का, तो तब तक गवर्नेंस में टेक्नोलॉजी पर हम बात ना करें, वो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ना करें. आई थिंक दैट इज नेसेसरी. सो थैंक्स फॉर द डिस्कशन सर. आई होप दिस सेशन एडेड वैल्यू इन योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी एंड गवर्नेंस. और आपके क्या व्यूज हैं और कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स जो आपको लगता है कि वो सुपर्ब एग्जाम्पल्स हैं टेक्नोलॉजी एंड गवर्नेंस के, तो वो आप कमेंट्स में जरूर शेयर कीजिएगा.
स्टडी IQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल.